Yeah, so what's happening in Delhi University right now is a very important and far-reaching kind of change, which I think is going to change the higher education scene, entire higher education scene of India. Now the 4-year program, undergraduate program as it is called, is, as we see it, a kind of experiment to bring in or to make certain policy changes in education. Now we know that the UPA 2 has had all these 6 bills about higher education, which could not pass through the parliament. Now, one of the major achievements of this is going to be that there will be backdoor entry for foreign universities, and also the so-called state universities, whether it's central or state, the government universities, there will be a degradation of that. So the universities, government universities will be degraded, and then you will have foreign universities entering here. And the foreign universities, the US universities for instance, all of them have a 4-year undergraduate program. Now if they have a 4-year undergraduate program, then it's logical that if we have a 3-year program here, they cannot compete. So there should be a kind of level playing ground for them too, and the level playing ground for them so that they can compete and take advantage over us. So that's what's going to happen. And since this cannot be done in a democratic kind of way by passing the bills through the parliament, the floor of the parliament, this has been, Delhi University has been chosen as a kind of experimental field where through the active, not just connivance, but more than an active participation of the ministry and using the highest authority of the university, the Vice Chancellor, as a kind of instrument for this, the government has succeeded in bringing about change and changing this old 3-year program and supplanting it with a 4-year program. Now the protests about this 4-year program were on right from last December, because this was kind of clandestinely introduced into the statutory bodies of the university, the academic council, the executive council, and so on. The agenda papers were not circulated in time, and also even before it came to the AC, there were academic congresses and special meetings by selected, chosen people. So the Vice Chancellor and his team always made sure that they choose the right kind of people, put them together, and they formulate the policy. So that's how it came out. And once it came into the public domain, 2012 November, December, teacher groups started protesting. Now, a massive protest against this program actually started in the month of May, when the final structure of this was, including the syllabus, was approved by the academic council. So there were 2 academic council meetings, one in December, which approved the larger structure, and May 2013, which approved the syllabi. Now, it was at that time when actually most of us as teachers, and I was also part of some statutory committees which looked at the English honours syllabus, and that's when some of these things which actually struck us, that this program is devised in such a way that first of all, it is a more longer program, so that invariably adds to the burden of students, and especially the poor marginalized sections, SCs, STs and OBCs will be affected more by this increase in expenditure. Then the official version is that, okay, you don't have to study all 4 years, there are exit points. So after 2 years you could exit with a diploma, after 3 years you exit with an ordinary bachelor's degree, and for full 4 years if you study you get an honours degree. And in all discussions, right from even in academic council it was mentioned, and in colleges when this is discussed, principals also mentioned, because teachers always ask, but who will, why do you want people to go away with a diploma after 2 years? And invariably they will say the weaker students can go, the poorer students can go, if they can't afford to study 4 years, they can go with, they can take this exit option. So then we realized actually that the exit option is, it is kind of said that there are already dropouts, and the dropouts now don't get anything. So if in this scheme, at least they will get a diploma or a degree or something if they, go out. And that's when we realized actually this scheme is not meant to help people who drop out. Rather, it's meant to kind of encourage or make dropouts official. Because earlier, if people are dropping out, the onus is on the institution to, make sure that students don't drop out. Look at the school scenario now. If kids drop out at class 8, you wouldn't want a system to say that, okay, if they drop out at class 8, we'll give them some certificate, right? I mean, you want them to complete their education. So the same should be the kind of principle that is adopted in university also. So why do you want a university to say that, no, if you stop studies after 2 years, we will just give you a diploma? Now, the diploma is not going to have any particular worth, right? It's not going to fetch you a particular job or anything like that. So you are going to create a set of people who hold degrees or diplomas which are of less value, and these will be people, anyone who can afford to study for full 4 years will study that. So people who cannot afford to study full 4 years, which means people from the weaker sections of the society, they will be the one who will get these diplomas or lesser degrees. So which means you are introducing this system which will perpetuate the kind of social hierarchy which already exists. So you are going to officialize that. Now it will be official that, yeah, if you hold a diploma, that means, or the diploma is meant for students from the weaker sections. And we also saw this in the light of the agitations we had for the implementation of OBC reservation, because DU was actually playing truant in not implementing OBC reservation properly. And after a couple of years, the struggle which lasted almost 2 full years, we see that now more and more students from reserved categories are coming in, which kind of creates some problem for the university maybe. And now they have found out this easy way of, okay, if we are admitting students more from reserved categories, we will also ensure that they drop out after 2 years, 3 years, whatever. And then we will have a cream of people who will get the honors degree, the coveted honors degree from DU. Now here again, the Vice Chancellor has been saying that earlier we had 2 kinds of degrees. One was the BA Pass degree, as it was called, or the BA program degree, as it later came to be called, and the honors degree. So the honors and program, those were the 2 degrees, but both were 3-year programs. Both were 3-year, and students will decide at the time of admission whether they want admission in an honors or a program. And honors had higher cutoff, and pass, if you do not have high marks, then you go to the program, BA program or BA pass. And the Vice Chancellor has been saying that now that system is gone. Everyone, whoever studies full 4 years can get a honors degree. But then what we see is that in earlier scheme of things, that both the degrees were equal, and there was no substantive difference in the BA degree or ordinary degree and the honors degree, because both were 3-year degree. Both had equal recognition, and whether you are going for masters or jobs or whatever, no one asks you whether you had an honors, or because that's not important, you have a degree. Whereas now that's not going to be the system, because the honors degree is a 4-year degree and the other degree is a 3-year degree, and so this will remain kind of firmly entrenched in the system, that these are 2 different kinds of degrees with 2 different kinds of weightage. And again, so the degrees will be like, you have a 3-tier degree structure now, or 3-tier structure: diploma, ordinary degree 3 after 3 years, and honors after 4 years. Whereas in the whereas in the earlier scheme, you had just 2 degrees, 2 kinds of degrees, both were 3-year. So I'm not saying that the earlier system was completely egalitarian, but the earlier system had also its problems, in that you will see that always in the BA program or BA pass courses, it will be students from the poor background, and large number of SC, ST, OBC students will be there. Whereas honors degree, you will find that the SCs and STs and OBCs were like few. You could never fill the seats there because of the high cutoffs and so on. So that was an unequal system. which had some kinds of ways to it was not that as unequal as this system, where you have a clearly 3-tier structure now: diploma or bachelor's degree and honors. So what we are saying is that instead of improving that earlier system which was unequal, in the garb of trying to say that we are trying to improve it, they are bringing an even more highly stratified kind of system. So this is the basic argument about the structure. I'm not going into all the details about this. So once this was made clear, the agitation started. So in the month of May till almost the admission started in middle of June, or in the middle of June it started. So we almost 1.5 to 2 month long series of agitations, which included dharnas in front of Jantar Mantar we had, at India Gate we had, in front of Sonia Gandhi's residence, HRD Ministry, UGC, in all these places we had petitioning. We petitioned right from the visitor, who is the highest, till Vice President, the HRD Minister, UGC Chairman, various other eminent citizens and educationalists, academicians. We had a lot of public meetings. There were a lot of eminent people also who came in support of our struggle. But in spite of all that, we found that the ministry and the university administration, both of them were completely tuned in with each other. That the ministry will say, no, the university authorities have passed this, it is properly passed through the AC and DC, so we cannot do anything about this. Whereas it was very clear to everyone that actually the university authorities were forced to pass this because of the government policies. Right. So on the one hand, you choose a vice chancellor who can implement this. We know what has gone inside, whereas it has been very reliably. Several people have told us that when the vice chancellor was chosen itself, it was ministry's kind of directive to him that you're given this job to implement these things. So you choose a vice chancellor who will do it in the most undemocratic way, and you get that person to do it. And when there is an agitation within the university, what happens is you get the administration and the university becoming more and more tyrannic, like to the extent that even today journalists or people from news channels cannot walk in and shoot interviews of academicians here. So I think your team also had the same problem, right? So the university has become that repressive. They refuse any public meetings here, all kinds of things, and you cultivate this kind of atmosphere here, and then there is teachers are terrorized, students are terrorized. So now, before airing their opinion, even in meetings, statutory bodies, teachers sometimes refuse. They oppose it, but then they say we can't give a dissent, because if you give a dissent, then immediately it goes up to the vice chancellor, and the vice chancellor will know that this person has dissented, right? So, and when it comes to the court will ask, why are your teachers not dissenting? But within the university, you have a kind of culture where the moment you say you oppose anything, we have instances where eminent academicians like I can take names, I think, right? Professor Satish Deshpande was openly threatened in the academic council meeting, where the PVC who was chairing the session is supposed to have said that we will take disciplinary actions against you if you speak to media and oppose our policies. These are policies which are approved by the university authorities, so you cannot, as an employee of the university, you should not speak, and if you speak against it, we will take disciplinary action. So this is the kind of atmosphere that they have created in the university. And then the ministry very they showed that they are helpless. So we were it was like getting caught between the devil and deep sea kind of situation, where, because you cannot, at the university you protest, nothing happens. In the outside you protest, nothing happens. So we tried, I think we gave a good fight, and the Vice Chancellor was called to defend this, but in spite of all that, they rolled this program. And now, after it has been rolled out, we find that thousands and thousands of students find that this program is completely useless. Because that was also part of our critique. We were opposed to it structurally, but then when you look at the details of the program, you find that the additional fourth year is not going to give anything substantial in the subject. I mean, each person is supposed to do around 10 or 11 foundation courses, and these foundation courses are of the most basic type, and it is the same set of courses for everyone. So a student who is honoring in computer science, who knows computers and all that, also has to do a basic course in IT, where they are told what is hardware, what is software, what is Bluetooth, what is internet, how to send email, how to open a discussion group, and basic things like that. Whereas we have large number of students who actually need this. We get at least 30% of students who may not have used computers, right? So they need this course. But then you also make the people who know all this, you put them together in a classroom, and how do you expect them to learn anything? Because the classrooms are like highly imbalanced, where one set of people know everything and the other set of people don't know anything. So the teacher will also find it difficult to address this kind of thing. And even for the student, you will feel, if you are a person who does not know anything, you will feel inhibited. You will not want to learn anything. You cannot show your ignorance, right? Because on the other side, you have students who know everything about this. So you have this kind of system, and it's same is the case with language courses, for instance. Everyone, you put everyone, students who come with like very good English and students who have like come from a regional medium background, and you give them a kind of English courses which are pitched at, say, class 6 to class 8 level in an ordinary school. So that's the level of English which you are giving. And when teachers who teach this say that on the one hand we have students who cannot understand a word of English, and who need special attention. You have to have face-to-face attention with them, and then on the other hand you have students who are very fluent, and they are put together in a classroom sizes of 50, 60, and sometimes even 80, and you expect language teaching to take place here. So they say that there is language, we are giving basic communication skills and so on, but this is the real scenario, and we knew this is going to happen. Like in the critiques that we have written, we have addressed this issue, because earlier Delhi University had a system, again English had different streams, A, B, C it was called, depending on the number of years. So if you had English only up to class 8, you go into a C stream, and if you have English up to class 12, then you go into A stream, and so on. So there was at least, although I wouldn't say it was a completely faultless system. It had its own problems, and actually we were trying to address it, but now they have supplanted that with this kind of system where it's like one size fits all. Actually that's the basic problem of this FYUP program. It's designed in such a mindless manner that some wise people sat there and thought, okay, these are the things that everyone should know, and so they decided to teach these things regardless of whether you know it or not already, right? So if you have a particular level of IT skill already, there is no need to do a basic course in computer. If you have a particular level of language skill already, there is no need to do a basic course, right? Whereas there are people who need those things, and now they cannot learn. Now they will not learn, and it is completely useless for the students who know this. So that's why in the recently conducted, which you asked me about, the referendum which a student group had conducted. It is reported that I think more than 90%, 95%, or I don't remember the exact figures, but yeah, from 11,000 students, maybe around 10,000 students or so, who are doing this program, they voted against this program. They said reject this. They rejected it, and they said, and classrooms after classrooms also students say that, why are we being subjected to this? Please give us the old system. So this is completely mindless system, where the only thing is that they study 4 years. And this has to be ensured. Now what you give them in that 4 years, now the VC has been saying that so the additional year doesn't matter, because after 4 years you can do 1 year MA. But then you have to also keep in mind that in the 4-year program there is not a single paper or topic which has been increased in the earlier honors program. It's basically the earlier 3-year honors now stretched into 4 years with these foundation courses. So when you actually say the masters will be 1 year, you are again reducing the content, right? So the content is getting reduced. And also this is not a US model where actually after the 4-year, if you take a 4-year graduation, then there is nothing like post-graduation, right? You go into a research program. So if they had brought that in, then one could say, okay, at least that gives some kind of, okay, now students don't have to study 3 + 2 years, 5 years, they could just take 1 degree, 4-year, and there is no masters, they go to research. So we have not brought that. So why is it that the undergraduate program alone has to be 4 years and MA can be 1 year? The only reason, it's very logical, the only reason we see is that now we are going to get universities which will also bring in their 4-year program, and there they will design their courses. And now if you look at the DU curriculum, the better students will say, why do we want to waste 1 year in learning all these basic foundation courses? The foundation, this is not a joke, I mean, I'm not exaggerating, but the foundation course in history actually has large parts which are taken from the class 11 CBSE textbook. The projects and large, I mean, people have written about this already. So this basically, the curriculum is addressing at the class 11, 12 standard of school. So any good student will think, well, I mean, why do I have to waste my time coming and doing that again? So good students will, I mean, for them this will not be a choice anymore. So they will definitely go, they'll be ready to pay more, and they'll go to the private universities. And state universities will come like, the state government hospitals, for instance, where people without money will go. So this will, that's why a large number of teachers are opposed to this saying, I mean, there are various reasons why people oppose FYUP. I mean, in our group, we have been opposing it because of this kind of scheme which is completely against the interests of students from SC, ST, OBCs. It's against the interest because when the standard of state university goes down, that affects them, right? When the standard of a government hospital goes down, it's the poor people and SCs, STs and OBCs which get affected the most. People who have money, they go to the private hospital. So similarly, this will, in whatever form it is going to be, these are the people who will get affected, even if the university survives and goes ahead. Otherwise, they will get affected also because they will be forced out of the system. They will not be able to complete 4 years of education. So now the program has started and it's going on, but the protests are still on, and yeah, I mean, hopefully it will be rolled back. Maybe, like, it's too difficult to say, but that's where we are now.
So
I mean, did I speak?